This is my signature summer makeup look. This is makeup that is going to last using techniques that really help with longevity, but this is also a non-fussy makeup routine. We're focusing on techniques and products that are just going to make our life easier. This is very bronzy, it's fresh, but just has those little bits of definition to really make everything pop. I absolutely love this makeup look. I hope that you guys do too. I'll leave everything down below for you guys, and let's just jump in. Okay, so first of all, I have self-tan. Oh my god, my self-tan hands, they're definitely out there today. But here's the thing. I like to get my face a little bit bronzier before I go in with foundation. I've been testing out 10, maybe more bronzing drops, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, so if you appreciate the spoiler, give this video a thumbs up. This is one of my favorites, and it's from First Aid Beauty. It is the Bronze and Glow Drops. So I'm first going to apply a little bit of a milky toner. This one is from Rhode. I also absolutely love the one from Ilia. If you have just put on your sunscreen, there's a good chance that you're not going to need to do this, but my skin is not dry, but it's not exactly prepped yet. And I always like to put a bronzing drop onto prepped skin. So that's what we're doing. This little bit of moisture just helps this blend out a little bit better. And here's the thing, I don't take that much. I don't think you actually need a ton, but you can see, how it just takes the skin to a little bit of a bronzier spot. It's subtle but effective. And I'm just gonna take a little bit more for the forehead. This one has a really beautiful smooth texture. There are others that I have tried that are gritty, just bizarre to me that anyone would ever want to put a gritty bronzing drop on their face. This one is not. Do you see on an everyday basis, I would probably not even really put much makeup on after this. I am someone that I don't need to put on makeup every day. That might sound crazy to some of you guys, but if you know, I don't know, if you have followed me for a long time, I am very much about simple, effective makeup, both in formulation and in technique. And this bronzing drop is very effective and pretty. And the Rhode Glazing Milk is a classic at this point for me. I'm thinking, I got a comment the other day about doing a glazing milky toner kind of video, a roundup on my favorites, and I kind of like that. I wonder if it's too niche, but you guys let me know. By the way, this is the self-tan that I'm using. It's the Tanologist Express Tan in dark. I think the color is pretty good. Oh my god. Just ignore. Application wasn't great this time, but that is because I was rushing. So that's what I get. For the base, for the foundation, I have been not really buying a self-tan shade in my foundation recently because I realized that I don't necessarily need to. Reason being is I have so many liquid bronzers. I can just mix my liquid bronzer into my foundation. So a big takeaway, a big tip that I have for you guys for my signature summer makeup look this year is this technique, this is what I've been doing. So I'm going to take my Shiseido Lifting Foundation. This one is almost out, so I figured I'm just gonna, kind of polish it off. This is a holy grail product for me, and I know a lot of you have just fallen in love with it since I bought it. It's very skin-like and radiant, but it lasts. Here we go. I think I'm gonna take the Say today. This is the shade Sand, and here you can see I'm just applying a little bit to the back of my hand, and I'm just gonna mix it. And you see how we have already a deeper color? I'm gonna take just a little bit more and add it in. And that is a much better shade match. See that? That is definitely a much better shade match than what we had going previously. But something that you might notice is that it's not quite as dark. You can see it's not quite as dark as my body, but I have personally found that if I try to get too close and too dark, it doesn't look as natural as I would like it to. I'm taking just a little bit of what's left on my hand to prep the brush and then going in and blending. After everything is like on, this ends up looking more natural. I just gotta tell you guys, I'm one of those people. Makeup is something that if I want to really look good and feel my best, makeup and the products that I use need to be a place of calm. I actually like prep myself in a lot of ways. Like when I'm testing makeup, I have a different, like, I don't know, I approach testing makeup very differently. Testing makeup ends up being more fun for me, but it's not necessarily like a peaceful endeavor. You don't know what's gonna happen and you have to kind of like just prepare for that. For a signature look, for a look where I really want my makeup to turn out well, or I just need to feel my best, I don't fuss around with fussy products. I need products and only recommend products to you guys that are fuss free. And all of these products that I'm talking about today are those items. They're dependable, they wear really well. They have been put through the ringer, and I trust them so much now. It's just so pretty. Beautiful medium coverage to that. And if you think that this is a little bit too glowy for you, then just go with the original, which is more of I'm gonna call this like a satin finish, whereas the Radiant Lifting is more radiant. So I'll leave links to both of them down below. Before I go in with concealer, I am gonna use a little bit of the Naturium Phyto Glow Lip Mask just to kind of prep the lips a little bit. My lips got so sunburnt. I just did a friggin' lip SPF video and I went to the beach and they got pretty sunburnt. Luckily they're doing a lot better now. The lips actually heal like pretty quickly, luckily. But yeah, I'm just trying to keep them a little moisturized. Concealer, we are doing Kosas Revealer Concealer in 1.5C. This is like my normal color. But again, I don't really mess with the shade of my concealer too much. I can always adjust with a little bit of bronzer and like the other color products that I'm going to be putting on my face. So I'm just sticking with a tried and true. Great if you have sunken, dry under eyes. This concealer is just bomb for that. I also really like the Tara 28, but I don't know. I think I'm out at this point. I would say that one is even better for something more long wearing for the summer. It just depends on what you want. I did fill in my brows a little bit earlier. I think they still look decent. I might not mess with them too much. Just blending this out. Okay, now we're gonna start building some shape. I am going to be, again, going back in with my Say Dew Bronze, and this is the shade Sand. Really like this shade. This gives me like a lot of really great color in just like a very blendable, dependable formula. I just really enjoy this color. And so just blending that out. And for like bronzer in general, the way I do it, no matter if it's a summer look or not, I always go around the perimeter of the face and then I take the bronzer a little bit higher than you would expect. And that's just because naturally the bronzer is going to blend down and it might drag down your face if you put it exactly where you want it. So that is something that I've done for a long time. And you see how it still like remains very lifted. Then I'll take the excess and I'll do like my jawline with the excess. So we have our first layer down of bronzer. This isn't all we're going to do, but I like to go in these thin layers and really build. But for now, this is what we're working with. And I'll go in with my blush now. I tried 12 red blushes, and this has been one of my absolute favorites. It's from Armani. It's the Luminous Silk Cheek Tint. And this is Flaming, I think it's called. It's 41, but I think it's called Flaming. And how do I want to do this? I'm going to take a little bit on the back of my hand and then go in. This is like a beautiful true red. It doesn't go to pink once it's actually on. It is just such a beautiful color, beautiful silky formula. It has this bit of a blur that the Luminous Silk foundation also has. Like it really looks like it's coming through to the skin. It doesn't necessarily look like, whoa, she is wearing a lot of red blush. And that's never like what I'm necessarily going for. And you can see where I'm placing it. I'm taking it kind of right over where the bronzer is as well, and a little bit up under the eyes. And of course on the bridge of the nose. The reason I like to do that is that that is where the sun is hitting. I think a lot of people like to put makeup on in a very like, I don't know, picturesque way. And sometimes I think it can look a little bit contrived. For me personally, I think that adding the blush a little bit up under the eyes can actually look a little bit more youthful, because naturally when you look at skin like without makeup on, if you're out in the sun, you're going to get color there too. We don't just have like perfectly concealed under eyes, blush just on the apples of our cheeks. Like I really like for it to look truly realistic. And I think that this gives me a very realistic effect. So I feel really good about all of this. And we are going to like add an extra layer of security with a little bit of powder. And this one is from Givenchy. It is the rose powder. I'm taking a very, very small amount of this. I don't want to take down too much of my glow. So I'm just gonna take a little bit, like seriously, not that much at all. And I'm going to set the forehead. I really, really like this powder. It isn't like overly drying. And I gotta tell you, I like don't like most powders. A little bit on the chin, a little bit right here. And then like really, truly with the excess, I like to take my powder right here and like right up under the eye down here. Basically making sure that like the tear trough is set. But I'm not taking it under the entire under eye. I don't think that I necessarily need to. Also gonna take some over here on the jaw. You know, typically like we're resting our head, you know, just in normal everyday life, I feel like that is where I'm kind of like touching the most. I don't know how that powder just got everywhere. Again, same thing. I'm taking it right up against the nose because, you know, no one necessarily needs a lot of powder there. And also like, this is where we can kind of get those like nasal labial folds, and sometimes a little bit of powder there helps to conceal them. Again, same thing with this tear trough and just taking it right there. We're not covering all of that glow, but do you see how everything looks a little bit smoother and more intentional? Yeah, I really, really like that. Then, so like I barely have anything on this brush. Now I'm gonna take it and kind of like set the other areas. But do you see it's like, it's not completely setting it. It's just more so a very light layer of security. We're like just barely setting the product, more so as a prep for powder that we're about to go into. And also I'm gonna take a little bit, I'll get a little bit more powder and add it to the eyes. I probably didn't even need to do that, honestly. I really, really like the Gucci bronzer, and this one's very matte. I find that it really helps my makeup last. This is one of those bronzers that I think is like absolutely worth the money. And I love the combo, the color combo. Not that that really matters. I also really like the Sephora bronzer, the matte one. This is the shade 00. This is the lightest shade. This is also a very good one and it's more affordable. The one from NYX, the Buttermelt, is also quite affordable. This one is 02, so there's a little bit more depth to this one. So I think I'm gonna go with this one, just because I think we still need a little bit of depth. I'm still looking for a little bit more color. This bronzer is pigmented, guys. I'm gonna take it onto the brush and then really take a lot of the excess back into the top of this. And then start to build it. You can always apply more, you know what I mean? But you can't take it away as easily. And I'm just setting these areas. Again, you can always add more. So I'm just really slowly building. You can see I'm actually pressing the product in, and this is such an underrated way of applying bronzer, in my opinion. It secures everything, and you're not left with a lot of potential makeup moving around or the layers not really working well together. This is kind of just, it's almost like we're setting the face again. And when you set the face, you're not necessarily like sweeping. I don't know. Sweeping can kind of add lines and smudges. But yeah, see how we're like just slowly building. It's hard to see the color come at first with this technique, but then I take it again right in this area because this is where the color and the sun is really showing. And something that I think is very underrated, not a lot of people might do this, but I swear, like, I have found it to give me a really pretty look, especially if you're trying to like match, match everything and you've been self-tanning. Take the excess. So there is a little bit of bronzer on here. There's barely any, but there is some. Then I just take it very lightly over the parts of my face that don't have any like blush or bronzer, just to like make everything look a little bit more seamless. Again, we're not bronzing the entire face. We're just kind of taking the excess as more so a way of making all the makeup come together. So it's subtle, but I think it does make a difference. We're not left with like a lot of bronzer on the cheeks and then like a very stark difference in the highlighted areas of our face. Oh, and I am gonna bronze the ears a little bit. That's an area that can go overlooked sometimes because I don't put self-tanner on my ears. I don't even know where I would start with that. The base is looking very silky. Everything feels very set. I think though we need more blush. We already have that base down of the one from Armani. I'm going to do is take a bit of Dior Cherry, I think, and add it back to the cheeks. You know, if I had Dior Coral, I might also use Dior Coral. I do have it. I don't really know where it is. I love mixing like a tangerine shade with a red blush, like going in with tangerine all over the cheeks and then adding a little bit of red blush right on the tippy tops where I might typically burn. I love doing that. Today I'm going to use, again, a little bit of Dior Cherry, and I just take it right here. Again, right on the tops of the cheeks. It's subtle, but it's like, oh, she got a little sun. I love Dior Cherry so much. Do you see that? Here's it without. Here's it with. And the dog outside barking. A little bit on the nose. It just adds this beautiful freshness in color. Oh, I just love it. Then I kind of like take a little bit of that excess into the crease as well. Just making sure all the colors are kind of meshing together. Bronzer and a little blush into the crease is a great way to do that. I have been going crazy over this quad from Surat. I did a YouTube short with it, an Instagram reel. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, definitely make sure you're following me over there because I'm doing a series on a lot of K-beauty products. But this quad I think is so perfect for the summer. A lot of us don't want to mess with a full-on eye look in the summer. I also have a code with them, I believe, so I'll leave the link and code down below if you want to take some money off because this is not a cheap palette. But it's the Beyond Beige, and it is, I think, the definition of summery, bronzy, sexy eyes. Just in my opinion, this is it. And the textures are gorgeous. They're so creamy, but these are powders because they use like a slurry technique, which is like the product kind of comes out in this more slurry texture. And then once they're baked, they go down to a powder. So you're really able to get a beautiful like creamy effect without using a cream. So I'm taking this really beautiful beige shade I'm just taking this beige right into the crease, just for a little bit of definition. Not taking a ton, again, it's just more so to start building out some shape. I want this look to be very like simple, quick. This palette honestly makes it really easy because there's not a ton of like selection here. It's just like very pretty single shadows. Like all of these on their own are really pretty. Then I'm going to take this beautiful shade right here. You can see it's just like a light cream, and I'm just gonna take it on the lid. It's very subtle. It adds a brightened effect to my lids without it being bam. Like it almost just looks like naturally my lids have a bit of brightness to them. And it's more of a satin finish. It's not like overly pearly or sparkly. So it's also really nice for like, I don't know, I get a lot of comments like you guys know I love like a wet look sparkle, but not everyone does, and honestly, I don't always want sparkle on my lid, and this is a good way of getting the brightness I want without a ton of sparkle. Then I'm going to take this shade right here. It is gorgeous. And I'm just taking that on the outer corner with a finger. I swear that dog outside is just like, I don't know what it's barking at. And I'm just taking that on the outer corner. This shade is really beautiful on green eyes because it's a little bit warmer. This is, again, this is more so just to add a little bit of definition. We're not like, we don't want to like overly shape the eyes. I don't think we necessarily need to. I could absolutely like add more structure if I wanted to. I just think this look is way more laissez-faire. I could take like a little bit of a pencil brush. This one's from BK. This is the 210. And I could like intensify that outer corner a little bit. And you know, I think that that looks pretty. Again, this is more of like a satin kind of color and texture. Yeah, actually I do like that. And I'm also gonna kind of like wiggle it into the lash line a little bit. And now I'm going to take the BK 208, which is like my favorite liner brush. I'm going into this deeper shade and just going ahead and doing a smoky wing. This has become pretty key in my signature makeup looks. I don't add the wing to the entire eye. It's just that coy little right at the end of the eye. It's very elongating. And I think it also it feels a little bit more effortless than a liquid liner can. And it's also easier. So I think that you kind of get the best of both worlds with it. And I just love this kind of texture of shadow to use in this technique because they feel like so creamy. They're like really easy to work with. And then I'll go back in with like a pencil brush and like soften it a little bit if I want to. I don't need it to be like too precise. And there it is. You can use that technique with like a pencil liner as well. Like take some pencil liner on the back of your hand and then use the liner brush. But I think, you know, if you guys have not tried this liner brush, if you have a lot of trouble with eyeliner, I would try it out. And I think I have a code still with BK. Maybe. If I do, I'll leave it down below. But yeah, it's the best eyeliner brush I've ever used, period. I think I am gonna tightline a little bit, but first let's do mascara. I know this is kind of like, you know, it depends. Some people like to do tightline before mascara. I don't know. I kind of switch it up and I'm just gonna curl my lashes. This is so key. It would not be an Amanda makeup look without curling my lashes. This is the Rephr eyelash curler. I really like this one. I also like the one from Surat. I love that one. The one from Shiseido too. And for mascara, if I really, really want it to last long, I'll probably use one of my Clio mascaras. I love the Super Kill mascaras from Clio. So if you really have trouble with your mascara not lasting, try out one of those and I'll leave it linked down below. But I think I'm going to use the Levitation Lash from Rituel de Fille. This one I think also lasts really well. Oh god, I just got a little mascara on right there. And I really like this one because it's very black and it's a lot of volume. You can see like it really packs the intensity. I do find that I get a lot of compliments on my lashes when I'm using this mascara. You really want to kind of pull the mascara and the eyeliner all in together. Like sometimes I'll often do this. I'll take the mascara and really like comb out those outer lashes just to add almost like, you know how people sometimes add a little bit of an individual lash to the like right to the end of their lashes? It gives, you know, a similar effect. You can also like kind of blink into it. Blink into the mascara like that also helps that. And now for another trick, I like to take the eyebrow spoolie that I'm using, and that can help get any like random mascara off. Now I'm just tightlining a little bit on the outer corner. But this is a black, so I don't want to use like too much, just a little bit, just to kind of add like a structure and a fullness out there. You can see it like really makes a difference. It adds that little bit of pop. And I kind of like, I take it between the lashes a little bit just to like conceal any of the skin that I have there. It does make a difference. I'm next taking the Rare Beauty Clear Brow Gel and pushing these up. I really like a fluffy brow, especially in the summer. I kind of let my brows go a little bit crazy in the summer. I think it's just a youthful look. You know, everyone has a different preference and different needs and like obviously like aesthetic choices that go better with their face. And for me, a fluffy brow always looks better. I'm gonna take a little bit of the Rare Beauty pencil as well and just finesse them a little bit, like any areas where I think can be like a touch darker. For the lips, I want everything to last, so I'm going to be using CoverGirl Lip Stain. This is perfect as like a lip liner pencil lip stain. It's really easy to cheat and overline with this one too. I don't know if I'm gonna do that though. By the way, this is the shade Shuggy Girl. Great shade in my opinion. It's not too dark, and a lot of lip stains are just too bright or too dark. For the lips, I cycle through. So sometimes I'll go for like more of a coral shade. Like this is Spritz from Naturium. This is one of my favorite corals. I've also been loving this one from Lily Bread. This is Apple Jelly Bite. I added a little bit there. Oh, it's such a pretty shade. I don't know if it's like exactly what I'm going for though. I think I'm just gonna go with an old favorite, which is Spritz from Naturium. Oh, is that too orange though? Huh. Yeah, I think it's a little too orange. So you know what? I think I am gonna go back to the Lily Bread. I think this was going with everything a little more. And the formula of the Lily Bread is very similar to the one from Naturium. It's like a really beautiful, enveloping, glossy balm. Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray from Charlotte Tilbury. The best. Great for mattifying but not drying out your skin and making like everything last. And it also like, it does a good job of like melting everything into. I always tell this story when I talk about this one, but my friend got married in Charleston last year, and it was actually still like pretty hot out. And not to mention, like, you just want your makeup to last at a wedding, right? I realized that I didn't have any more of this like with me, and I went to Sephora and picked up another one. Like, that's how much I relied on it. Here it is, everyone. This is my signature summer makeup look. I really hope you all enjoyed it. I will leave all of the products that I talked about today down below. I really hope this was helpful. So if you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you all in my next one.